Hi everybody, it's Meg from the Cambridge Group of Clubs, and I'm here just to talk to you quickly about feet. As I mentioned in my blog today, there is an opportunity for many of us to strengthen our feet. Our feet are an absolutely vital part of our human bodies, and because we do tend to brace it way more often than anything else, the feet can atrophy, the arches can become quite rigid, less reactive. The muscles, bones, and tendons aren't necessarily as strong as they were naturally meant to be, and a little bit tighter. So again, I don't recommend that you go from a cushioned runner to a barefoot runner right off the bat. You don't even necessarily need to move to ever wearing a barefoot runner or barefoot shoe when you're walking, hiking, cycling. But there is a simple opportunity to take some of your strength training, some of your mobility work, slip off your shoes and socks, let those toes stretch and let those arches start to strengthen. Those of you that are doing yoga and Pilates on a regular basis, you are training, congratulations, with your shoes and socks off, so you're already got a really good degree of strengthening and reactivity happening there. For those of us that haven't, and even if you have, you may find that you are holding a lot of tension through the arch of your foot. And I even do this before I head out for a run, even though I am putting my shoes on, just so that that arch is a little more reactive and a little more supple, able to spring, able to react to that ground. So all I'm doing here is I'm rolling back and forth between the ball of the foot and up to the front pad of the foot through that arch, and then I'm going to find a tender spot there. I'm going to sink my weight down on it. It's quite uncomfortable. And then I'm going to smush the lacrosse ball into the ground. So I'm rotating back and forth on that hot spot. You can feel it kind of coming up, moving in through the toes a little bit. You don't need to do tons of this, but if you were to put the ball under the arch of your foot daily, do that rolling back and forth, maybe 10 or 20 times. Look for that tender spot, hang out on it. Breathe into that tension, and then it's almost like you're screwing the ball down into the floor. And what you'll find is that as you do this on a daily basis, is that arch does really start to open up. Your feet start to feel wider and bigger. You're better able to anchor yourself in ground into the floor. So I am using a yoga mat. I do prefer that. I do find I like just a little bit of a cushioning to help me with that balance, to help me really feel underneath the feet. I also like that I can grip into it so that I can strengthen those toes. A few simple things we're going to do. You can really do absolutely everything in bare feet. So as I said, no rocket science, but some of my favorite things to do is a seated row where I'm going to take my band and place it around the balls of my feet. I'm then going to spread my toes out, push my feet into the band, and sit up nice and tall for my row. Now, an interesting thing about doing this is I'm flexing the ankles, which is putting the hamstring and the calf on a little more stretch, and it makes it more challenging for me to keep that body upright. So, and I'm trying to still flex the toes, spread the feet apart, flex them, and challenge the pelvis a little bit. So that's a great one. Single leg work is amazing when you're in your bare feet. So let's start by just warming up with a squat. So when I'm squatting, I'm going to fully extend the body, push my feet down into the mat, spread the toes, feel both the ball of the foot under the big toe, feel the ball of the foot under the little toe and the heel. So those nice 3 points, almost like a triangle under my toes. Sink them in, spread the toes, come down into my squat, nice and centered. I can really bend through the ankle and feel my weight center all the way through the arch of the foot, articulating with those 3 spots. Transitioning to one leg. Again, spread those toes out nice and strong. Find that triangle of support, bring the other foot up, and then firing through the glutes, staying up nice and tall, coming down, and then push that full foot up and away. So I do end up getting a little more flexion through that ankle, way more strengthening through that foot as I push it right down into the ground, right under behind the big toe, baby toe, and heel. As you get into your split squat work, the beautiful thing is now we need to work on strengthening the foot up on the toes so that I'm coming down and up. Again, I've got that triangle support, spreading those toes in that front foot, and then really getting off into the strength of all 5 toes as that back foot flexes up and down. And of course, finally, one of the best things you can do is simply get up on your toes. So whether you're doing calf raises and you can elevate the front of the foot so that you get a little more eccentric lengthening of the calf, or coming up on your toes and simply walking to strengthen the arches, stretch through the toe a little bit, work on the plantar flexion of those ankles, and then conversely coming up on the heels. And again, try and spread the toes, fan them out, and take a little walk around. So go easy, be careful. You know, a little bit of pain and discomfort the next day is, you know, something that you should expect. But again, I do recommend that you don't head out and start running high amounts barefoot. If you have been wearing a cushioned or stability runner, whether that's for your hiking or your cycling, and you want to move in to a barefoot runner, please ensure that you're just doing it for small amounts at a time. So maybe 1 mile out of your 5-mile run is in that barefoot runner. You swap them off, put on your cushion shoe or your stability shoe and continue on, and then increase that volume by 10% at a time. Alternately, all the work that you're doing inside or on your deck with your stability work you can do with your shoes off and gain some great foot strength that way. Thanks so much for joining me from my home to yours.